What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of What If Countries Formed an Empire. In this scenario, Italy tries to form an empire. Now, for this scenario, there is going to be no NATO, no major alliances, or nothing. So first thing we do is Italy is going to set up diplomatic relations with Serbia and become their ally. First thing we see this alliance do is petition Bosnia, and they're going to invade on both sides, with the Serbian army being better than the Italian army, just because they share an actual border with them. But Italy is going to make some naval landings along the coast, and once they align their border, well, their front line with Serbia, the war starts speeding along fast, and soon Bosnia surrenders. Here we see Bosnia getting divided like this, with them only having access through like this little gap to their puppet state. So Italy is going to invade Slovenia and Croatia with the help of Serbia. Alright, to start off this invasion, Italy invades into here, pushing into Slovenia. They're also going to push along their border a little bit, but I believe there's tons of mountains here, so it's going to be more difficult for them. And they're going to connect up with their puppet state. Serbia is also going to join this war on the side of Italy, and they're going to be chilling. Hungary is also going to join the war. So they're going to join the war like so and push along their border like this. But here we see a very important event happening. Some parts of the Bosnian puppet state are going to break away from Italy, and this is going to make Italy very mad, and they're going to be speeding up their invasion of Croatia just to get closer to dealing with their problems with their puppet state. So Italy is also going to hurry up and send troops into Bosnia just to put down this rebellion a little bit, and they're also going to push from the little bit of naval access down here. Serbia is also going to be helping Italy put down this Bosnian rebellion, and Italy capitulates this southern half of Croatia. Croatia is going to surrender, and Slovenia is going to be pushed into even more. Now Slovenia is going to make a small pushback on Italy due to outside foreign aid, but they are going to be pushed up all the way out, and then they're going to be surrendering over to Italy and Serbia. So here we see the peace treaty, and this is the end of Serbia and Italy's short form alliance. Now moving away from Italy, we actually see Serbia getting mad at Kosovo, and Kosovo is going to declare independence in retaliation and unify with Albania. Now that Greater Albania has been formed, Serbia is going to go ahead and declare war on Albania, and this would bring Italy into the war, and Italy is going to be like, "Alright, Serbia, let's help you out with this war." So Albania declares that Kosovo has joined them in a union, and Serbia declares war on Greater Albania. Now Greater Albania is going to push back Serbia because they have just formed a decent union between them and the other Albanians that were living in Kosovo, and they're going to push in. Italy's going to make a small naval landing but get kicked out instantly, and Kosovo's going to be continue to be sieged by Serbia. So here we see Italy making a push into Albania through naval landings, and this time it's actually going to be successful due to Albania being occupied with the Serbian push from Kosovo, and they're going to struggle. Here we see Serbia meets up with the coast of Albania, and then they cut off the coast of Albania, then they push into here, and then Albania surrenders. Here we see the peace treaty. Serbia sadly annexes all of Kosovo, and Albania is made a puppet of Greece once more. Not Greece, Italy. So on one very nice Wednesday night in September 2026. No, 2029. Nice Wednesday night. We see Serbia declaring war on North Macedonia. Soon after, we see Bulgaria declare war on North Macedonia. Soon after, we see the Greeks declaring war on North Macedonia. So here we see this is what is pushed into from Albania, Italy, Serbia, Bulgaria, and Greece. Now let's see this again. Here we see this is what is pushed into from all these countries that are dividing up North Macedonia. So let's see a peace treaty. This is going to be the peace treaty between all these nations. Here we see a coalition forming against Italy, and these allies-ish of Italy want to back Italy because they hate the other countries in here, like Czechia, Portugal, just siding with the UK, bringing in everybody. So first things first we see is Serbia pushing into Italy's little puppet states. Serbia is going to push into Croatia and some parts of Bosnia like so, and they're just going to be pushing down all the way into Italy, cutting off that part. And then we actually see a Albanian rebellion from Albania and Kosovo. Well, not Kosovo, but some parts of North Macedonia. And Greece is going to push into them with Serbia and just take the rest of this. Now the Albanians are going to fight the Greeks a little bit during this war, so it's going to be a little bit complicated, but that's going to be it for that whole zone. The Italians actually make a push into Serbia, sort of like their conquered lands that they took, but they're also going to free up a little bit of their puppet state, which they would be pushing into fairly easily due to naval coastline, but it's going to be a little bit difficult for them. And they're also going to push into Austria a little bit, and Czechia is going to push into Austria too. Now, Italy is slightly buffed in this scenario, but we do see a naval invasion into France, but that is quickly pushed aside by the French with their powerful army, because Britain's navy would be weaker than their past times. But with the help of the Portuguese, they're going to make naval landings along here, and the French are going to only push a little bit back. Here we see the Italians push into the French a little bit, and they are going to be really stretched in this war, and it's going to be very bad for them. They're going to be flanked on lots of sides. So first side they're going to start losing on will be this. They're going to start losing on their Serbian side. So they're going to get pushed into like so. And Serbia is just going to push all the way up into their borders. And they're going to be like, alright, so you know how there's lots of different cultures in here and everything. And they're going to be like, join up with us. And then they capitulate some of these areas. They bring down these guys like so. Italy's going to be like, alright, let's get together. Czechia, you're on your own. They exit from Austria. Austria ain't going to do much but take advantage of this. But they do have a little bit of aid. So Vienna is sieged. Austria surrenders. And Italy's going to push a little bit into their old lands that were conquered. And their puppet state's not going to be reformed yet. But they are going to start losing on the French side due to new French general, Noy Pen, being very skilled in this war and pushing back the very skilled Italians. But they're no match for Noy Pen, who causes the flank, going through the Alps like a absolute crazy person, but doing it successfully through many different forms of modern military attacks. But here we see Portugal and the UK make a naval landing in Brittany, slowly sieging more and more of Brittany until they capitulate a little bit of it. And they're also going to make pushes down in southern France. Italy's also going to make a naval landing over here on southern France, and they're going to be like, alright, maybe we should withdraw some of our troops from our Italian border. And they do that, but they do only push back a little bit of this and that. And Brittany, they're going to push back a lot, but just still barely holding on to their little occupation in Brittany. With this, Italy's going to make another push, and Neulipen's going to be surprised and shocked. And on one faithful battle to get to their naval landing, Neulipen is killed along the French coast, and Italy sort of gives up on taking over France because France is in shambles, and they're going to be like, revolution now. So the revolution's going to pop up in France like so, and they're going to be really powerful, mainly just trying to use and fund the revolution with the Italian wealth and the British wealth, just to mainly try to take over. But it's not going to go out so well, but it's going to start spreading, and sooner or later we see them skirmishing with the Italians and Portuguese and British. So here we see this front be more successful since Italia is withdrawing from their little front lines in France. And Austria is going to be like, alright, we're Czech controlled now. We're chilling. We're not going to try to come back up. And their people don't support the war. They just support sort of just giving up. Greece is going to be like, alright, we got what we want out of Albania. Let's just leave. And they're going to be alright. Like, alright, yeah, we're happy, I guess. But here we see them wanting to get their puppet state back from Albania. So they're going to push into Albania like so, take out Albania, and they're going to skirmish with the Greeks a little bit, but not much, as Serbia surrenders to get a better peace treaty, and let's see this peace treaty. Alright, so this is the peace treaty. So we see puppet states being formed out of the Austria and this new puppet state, and Serbia's reduced it down to that. They're really small now, and this puppet state's co-managed by the Czechoslovakians and the Italians, and they also have all this land from France. Revolutionary France is now formed, and here we see Portuguese taking over here and here. And the Portuguese are actually going to also take over French Guiana. Here we see the Portuguese back in South America. Here we see Britain getting all of Brittany. And they're just going to chill. Now that is going to be it for today's episode. We see Italy conquering their dreams, becoming a major superpower, and being very competent this time. Goodbye, y'all. Don't forget to like and subscribe to see more content like this.